All right, want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua Bashem Kakodash. Want to give double honor to the apostle Jim Devil as well. Peace, blessing, salutation to Yakim out there, putting forth his truth and sincerity. And Chicago Rob coming from GMS Virginia. And pretty much, I'm pretty sure bros. Shalaki. I stumbled across this video, Northern Kingdom. He talks about maybe Issachar, maybe Zebulon. You had very funny, all I'm gonna say is go into like Mexican rappers, Cholo rappers. You also have Zebulon rappers, and you had the lowrider movement with Issachar and Zebulon. You got got guys like Mr. Criminal, not promoting rap, but just showing you the same spirit, the same spirit that's in these people are definitely the stock of Israel. Because just like you have the top tribe, which is the so-called blacks here in America, well, scattered throughout, so-called blacks have been sold and, imported throughout the whole four corners. So you have so-called blacks everywhere. But the point is, the so-called blacks here in America, they started this thing called rap. And pretty much all the tribes do it, even amongst Ephraim, all the way down, even Benjamin. Because you have rappers like Busta Rhymes, who's a Benjamite, Biggie, who's a Benjamite, actually from Jamaica. But yeah, you have this Northern Kingdom right here. He pretty much stumbles across, he's an Israelite, pretty much showing you that he watches our videos. Now I'm going to bring up, bear with me one moment. Let me see. I'm going to bring up this book right here. Yeah, this book right here. The hell is this? Israelis. Israelites. Oh, that's funny. The Jews, Indians come in. I'm not I know. Shalaki. Yeah, I might have to check this out. Jews among the Indians. What's that book? Here it is right here. Israelites and Indians. Now in this book, I believe this is the guy who created it, Garrick Mallory. And he pretty much goes into how the Indians, so-called Indians here in America, they spoke Hebrew. And basically it was comparing about, their ways, their writings, their letters, pretty much confirming that these were a people from the East. And, pretty much it was, I just bought the book, so I'm just, reading it day by day, a few pages here and there. But as far as I've read the book, Salaki, it pretty much making comparison on how the Indians are indeed of the house of Israel. And you read, I'm going to play the video as well. But pretty much, this land backing off of it, well, when I first saw it, I'm like, yo, I'm definitely going to make a video to this. Even being out here in Richmond, Virginia, is, Northern Kingdom, you really see like a different spirit amongst Northern Kingdom right now. Back in the day, Northern Kingdom was, I'm not sitting here trying to justify and say, Northern Kingdom still aren't coons, but the outlook is getting different because pretty much, they're struggling, they're seeing the pain, they're seeing the injusticeness here in America. They're seeing that America wasn't that land of opportunity, the land of milk and honey. They see that, it takes 10 of them to work you know, it takes like a whole 20 of them to, you know, to shackle up in a crib. And, you know, but my point is, they see that it wasn't the you know, the smoke screen, how they how what they thought it was. Because I actually was speaking to a Zebulonite that I know, and he was telling, you know, he said his nephew wanted to come over here, but he was telling like, yo, he was telling his nephew like, yo, you don't even really want to come over here. It's not like what you think it is. You know, it's a different type of pain and struggle, and it's a different type of, you know, life here. And even this Menashite chick, you know, she was saying that, you know, her people in Cuba, they think life is, you know, just because she's over here, they think, you know, she roughly paraphrased, got money and, you know, things is a little bit better. But she was like, yo, the shit is, you just work, 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 work. You know, you really, you just a slave. And see, and these Northern Kingdom are waking up. You know, they're seeing that they're calling them drug dealers, they're thieves. You know, they're feeling that tension of ICE. They're seeing that they can be deported at any moment. They can break up they can take your father away from you. Cause yeah, you know, I mean, benefit of the doubt. You know, Northern Kingdom men, you know, they try to be there for their families. You know, women pretty much, you know, they still got that. The Northern Kingdom woman is somewhat, Zebulon and Issacharite women, they somewhat, you know, the women, they depend on their men, and they know, you know, they really look up to their men to a certain extent. But you know, here it is, the father can be deported at any moment. I had a cousin, you know, he passed away now, but I had a cousin, you know, they just grabbed his ass up, uh, um, like 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, and he had to sit in immigration for 7 months for no fucking reason, and he been here for 30, you know, he been here for 30 years. You know, so you know the kingdom, the whole, their whole, you know, the spirit is changing and amongst them. You know, cause now Northern Kingdom, you know, you know, I can attest, you know, Northern Kingdom actually waving. You know, oppose, you know, Northern Kingdom would just look at Judah and just look at them at disgust. But now Northern Kingdom actually looking at Judah as like, yo, what's up, man? Like, how you? Like, what's up, man? You know, they waving, they smiling. You know, so you know they kind of figuring and seeing like, yo, the shit is hell. It's not, you know. And this is what this Jake was talking about. I'm gonna let the video play. I'm gonna bring forth a couple of scriptures.
Okay, and you mentioned the indigenous language of the Aztecs or the Mayans?
One thing I could say, before I let the video play in Salaki, pretty much go back to the young lords. Those were Ephraimites who actually was trying to fight the injustice of what they was going through. The so-called Puerto Ricans coming over here, migrating from Puerto Rico, and they were inspired by the so-called Black Panthers. Well, we all know, you know, both of those organizations was infiltrated, the Black Panther and the Young Lords, and then through the Young Lords, you had the Brown Pride movement, which was Issachar and Zebulon that was rising up, and they were all coming together underneath one. But unfortunately, you know, as he's gonna say it, you know, but I'm gonna let the video play. I'm gonna bring the scripture out.
And both of them. Both of them. You said it was connected to an old Hebrew, ancient Paleo Hebrew. Ancient. So does that mean that that language that was indigenous to what Mexico and Central America is today was a Semitic language?
Yeah. So what the schools teach you is an indoctrination. You
Carl Isle Indian School. I suggest brothers to look that up. Carl Isle Indian Schools, and look up Andrew Jackson, the Indian killer. You know, Esau. Oh, this is the other book too. Salaki, View of the Hebrews. View, yeah. This is it right here. View of the Hebrews, Hebrews 1825 by Ethan Smith. Now, this book, the guy, I didn't really look up who Ethan Smith was, but pretty much what he did, Yeah, if you're the Hebrews, the tribes of Israel in America, and what pretty much what is speaking on is he has evaluated the so-called Indians here in America, and he pretty much makes makes it clear, self-explanatory, that these so-called Indians are indeed the lost tribes of Israel. Now, see, a lot of things is coming out now, and this again, hit now all of us, now this cuts all tribes are black. Now this cuts that we was just talking shit. We're talking on the side of our neck. And see, this is why E is cutting our videos and slashing our videos, because now all the truth is coming out now. There's no ducking, chucking, jiving. There's none of that. Now see, these are accounts that Esau wrote himself about the so-called Indians, the so-called Latinos, the so-called the Italian Indians. All this has been documented and recorded, and they actually made a study about the so-called. And that's why you got reggaeton. That's why you got merengue. That's why it has a upbeat. I mean, just look at that, and that's why they're under suffering. They so-called Latino Hispanics. They have the last names of their conquerors. They speak Spanish. That's a name. That's a language of their conquerors. They was seduced. All you got to do is look up the book Devastation of the Indies, and it will show you the atrocities. Then all you got to do is go to the Carl Now Indian School. Then all you got to do is look up the Indian, the land of the Indians prior to colonization, and it will show you a map of all the lands of the Indians, so-called Indians, and it would damn near show you the whole, all of the West were inhabited by the so-called Indians, the Native Americans, man. But hey, blame the so-called white man. Going back to the video.
You get inducted into this indoctrination of what they want to call you, or what they tell you that you are. So for
Puerto Rican, Mexican, El Salvadorian, Honduran, Brazilian, Cuban, Dominican, Jamaican, and so forth. Those were the names that the so-called white man told you. That's why when you go amongst, the West Coast and Texas and those regions, Arizona, those Israelites down there have a way different spirit. You got songs like, music genres like cumbia. You had Selena. You had a lot of talent amongst them, and I didn't really like her like that, but you had chicks like Evie Queen and Ephraim, and then why I bring this out is because we all are the same. You got Evie Queen, Angie Martinez, and then you look at the so-called black women, where you had Remy Martin, with some chicks, Foxy Brown, Lauryn Hill. The same. Hey man, we are the same stock of people, so-called blacks, Latino, Hispanics, Native Americans. But we've been lied to and taught to hate each other and to pretty much look at each other as if for different people.
Our people get called Hispanic, right? So Hispanic, not knowing what that term means, we call each other Hispanics, but that was under the Spaniard captivity. When the Spaniards came in 1492 and, raped, robbed, and pillaged, the people of Mexico, how they knew you were under that captivity was by calling you an Hispanic, how you belonged to a family of a Spaniard that took you worked on their plantation, you were given their last name, like my last name, Ayala. That comes from whatever captivity my family got taken into, and maybe we will have to work on fields, whether it was picking, tobacco, or whatever that family had us doing. That's what we did. Now Latino is different. Latino is under the Grecian captivity. That's if you were Latino, or how they differentiated both of them is Latino actually meant that your bloodline dated back to a Grecian or a Greek, and people that are from down south, Guatemala, El Salvador, just South America, they're not Latino. Their dads aren't Greek. We're still of this brown race. Like they call, black people or African Americans that are here now Africans, and they're not from Africa. They actually just got taken into captivity in Africa.
It's true because I know a lot of people don't realize. That's why when you call a so-called Puerto Rican, a Mexican, or vice versa, or however, pretty much, if you call a Puerto Rican or Cuban or Dominican or Mexican, back in the day, blows might would have been thrown, but my point is, like so-called Latinos consist of the so-called Cubans, Ephraim, and Simeon, Manasseh, Simeon, and Ephraim. Those consist of the so-called Latinos, but the Hispanics are so-called Mexicans down, Mexico down. I want to say to the regions of Costa Rica or Panama. Those are considered Hispanics, and on down. Then again in South America, you have different tribes as well, Judah and so forth. But yeah, Hispanics, Zebulon, Issachar, and then you have Simeon, Manasseh, and Ephraim, Salaki.
Waffle in Israel. Africans are Hamites. They're from the tribe of Ham. So they're just a different people, and that's why people in Africa don't accept the blacks that are here, the so-called blacks that are here in America, because they say those aren't our people, And history, they won't teach you. In my era,
I remember. It's like for talking so much, but yeah, I remember in Puerto Rico, if you somewhere deny, your so-called black African roots, sometimes people get heated. One thing about Ephraim, they always shout out, "Yeah, I got African people, African, Mama Africa." Cause you got I remember a lot of songs in the Fania, old, salsa, a bundle of salsa artists used to come together, and a lot of times they even toured in Africa. And I don't remember certain salseros, they would shout out Africa, but those Hamites don't look at you so-called Puerto Ricans as one of them. They damn sure don't look at y'all. And again, you have a lot of even amongst Puerto Rico, you have a lot of so-called African Hamite festivals, especially in Cuba. Cuba has a lot of Hamitic ways that they follow. I believe they have a language called Lakumi, and that's I'm not mistaken, it goes back to the ways I'm not gonna try to butcher it, but they actually have a language that's from Africa that's called Lukumi in Cuba. So they speak Lukumi in Spanish, so-called Spanish.
Taught us a little about Aztecs and Mayas and Incas, just a little bit, but they never tell you how our people got here. They'll never tell you. We came from somewhere. They'll never tell you, how we read the stars. We used a thing called cenotes, which were these ponds, reflection ponds, to read the stars. While Columbus was looking up at the stars, trying to read them, trying to find these holy people that had a blessed land that was promised to them, full of riches and rich soil and all this and that, he was looking up at the stars. And he didn't know how to use geometry using the reflection ponds. And that's how we got here. Our real name is not Aztec, it's Issachar. That's our real name. They gave us the name Aztec because it means people of time, because we kept time in numbers. And so that's where that came from. So it's really important.
That's spiritual too, because Issachar was very talented at that,
To know your history,
Now, are any of your tattoos reflective of that ancient culture?
Yep. One of them is the high priest right here, which you.
You know, it goes off. But I'm gonna end with these couple scriptures. Judah. Jeremiah 15:33. Thus said the Lord of hosts, the children of Israel and the children of Judah were oppressed together, and all of them that took them captives held them fast. They refused to let them go. So, prior to Christopher Columbus, on to this very present day, they refused to let our people go. They lied to us. They didn't tell you the truth. They broke even more. They took your mind from you, calling out Indian schools. Gave you names that they called you, and they. I'll be honest with you, man. North Kingdom, they were pretty. Northern Kingdom isn't really taught anything. You know, they're whitewashed completely, especially in their country. In their countries, they had to pay the school. They had to pay to get the basic minimum of so-called education, which, you know, when they go to those schools, is pretty much again, lies and what the Spaniards conquered them and what the Spaniards teach them. And that's why when Northern Kingdom come over here to this country, you know, first, you know, they had that burden of their poor poverty, you know, serious poverty, and then when they come over here, you know, they don't really understand what happened, took upon the atrocity that took upon the so-called blacks in America. You know, then, you know, Esau, which destroyed Judah as well, the head tribe, you know, and, you know, the minds of these Negroes here in America are gone. So, you know, then they see how gone y'all are here, and y'all being born here, and think y'all got opportunity. That's why it has like a, you know, they look at us, Northern Kingdom look at Judah as in disgust, even Benjamin. But then, you know, coming over here, then living over here, then they, you know, like again in these last days, seeing what's really happening. You have TikTok and the internet. You know, Northern Kingdom is suffering now even more. You know, the kids are being brought up here, so the kids are being, you know, again, you know, they're seeing you know what they're doing in the rap industry, the reggaeton industry, how they pushing agendas, and then again, you know, they're understanding how easy it is for their parents to get deported. You know, here it is, you've been here, their parents been here, they have children here, the children can stay, but your parents got to get deported. So they're seeing and understanding more that we are oppressed together. When you go into the ghettos and the slums, who's in it? Judah in Northern Kingdom. Issachar is in the hood. I mean, shit, you come to South Richmond, man. You go to them schools. You number Judah and Issachar, you know, and Zebulon. You got Ephraim sprinkled amongst there, and you have Simeon. You know, you might have a little bit of Manasseh in there too. But, you know, and Benjamin. You know, but in the end, like, you go to Chicago, New York, shit, the Bronx, you know, Washington Heights, Jersey, Perth Amboy, Pennsylvania, certain parts of Maryland, you know, Northern Virginia. Northern Virginia have a heavy, you know, another thing too, you know, a lot of those Northern Kingdom, they join gangs because it's protection, you know. But why are they joining gangs for protection? Because anything can happen here in America, because you are a oppressed people. But see, now the truth is being, you know, everything is being lifted. You know, the skirt is being lifted up amongst Esau, and the truth is spreading. Let me see. What is that? Ezekiel raise. I can't really. Here it is. Beautiful. Thwada. Yeah, watch me on shot. Ezekiel 37. It said, Yeah, I'm sorry, verse 16. Because this, you had different attempts prior, meaning you had Black Panthers, Young Lords, the Brown Pride, different different sectors that try to come together to bring us together, but that didn't work. But you have this truth that are bringing Israel together, so-called Blacks, Latinos, Hispanics, and Native Americans together as never seen before. So I'm sorry that verse 6, Ezekiel 37:16. Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah and for the children of Israel, his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel and his companions. Because see, and join them one to another into one stick, and they shall become one in thy hand. So the Lord is bringing the tribes back together underneath this truth, the band of Yahweh Shah. Ephraim's coming together back with Issachar. I'm gonna tell you something, man. A lot of people think the tribe, the kingdom get along. No, they don't. Issachar don't like Zebulon. Zebulon don't like Issachar. Ephraim don't deal with Issachar. I've seen that even dealing amongst my people. My people. I've seen it when I was in Florida. My people are Manasshites, and and I got certain Manasshites in my family that look Northern Kingdom, straight Northern Kingdom, and they don't fuck with Northern Salaki. They don't mess with Issachar. You don't really see too many nothing. You really don't see too many. You every once in a while, but you don't see Ephraim really. You don't see here Simeon, Simeonite dealing with Issacharites or Zebulonites. Not even in race mixing, not race mixing, but a dude dealing with a shorty, whatever, or whatever. Because I remember this Zebulonite chick I had mentioned, Dimbo. She was like, "Yo, that's that crazy music." So forth and so forth. But that's pretty much it. A little just rambling on. But I'm gonna go ahead and end it. Lord's will. I was edified through this lesson. Definitely shalom.